Welcome to the last part of the discussion on accounting for construction contracts. So we ended on the significant financing component in a contract. Anong tinutukoy na significant financing component dito? For example, you are an entity and a construction company agreed to construct a building. And part of their agreement is merong mga goods or services or mga materials na gagamitin na ipo-provide ng entity yung contractee ah, para makatipid sa cost. So, binibigyan ng contract ng grace period yung entity to significantly transfer the items or the services para ma-accomplish yung construction na yun. So, yun yung significant financing component in the contract. So how do we account for that? According to the standard, it is discounted. Kumbaga, when we say discounted, kuhanin mo yung present value noong items na yon so as to account for yung kung magkano mo siya if-factor in the computation of your construction cost. So there is a guidance here. A contract does not have a significant financing component if 1. The customer paid in advance and the transfer of the goods or services is at the customer's discretion. 2. The consideration is variable and contingent on a future event that is beyond the customer's or the entity's control. And C. Difference between the promised consideration and the cash selling price arises from reasons other than financing. So kapag nag-qualify sa isa dito, ay hindi na natin i-consider na yung transaction is with a significant financing component. Okay? The promised consideration need not be discounted if it is collectible within 1 year from the date of transfer of the goods or services. Let us illustrate. Okay. A 3-year construction contract provides for a 10% retention by the customer on all progress billings throughout the contract duration. The amount retained is payable to contractor at contract completion when the customer accepts the completed assets. So, kailan siya magbabayad? The 2-year construction provides may 10% retention. Tapos yung 10% na na-retain ay babayaran lang kapag nakumpleto na yung construction. So ano yung ang analysis dito? The contract does not include a significant financing component because the retention is intended to protect the customer from the contractor's failure to satisfy. So yung retention is a security on the performance. Kung halimbawang mag-fail na matapos, merong pang additional security rather than financing. Accordingly, the retentions need not be discounted. So in this case, yung retention, hindi mo yan i-discount because it is not a significant financing component but it is a security on the construction contract. Okay, what happens if there are non-cash consideration? For example, how do we account yung mga materials na ginamit on a particular transaction, yung ibinigay na materials ng contractee para or services or equipment or labor na binigay ng entity kasi uh, rather than purchasing materials ay meron palang mga uh, available inventories of materials na pwedeng gamitin on the construction yung entity, yung contractee. So pwede niya yung ibigay dun sa contractor and it will be measured at a fair value. Ang sabi dito, the contributed goods or services are treated as non-cash consideration and included in the transaction price if the entity obtains control over them. The non-cash consideration is measured at fair value. Kung hindi ma-identify o hindi binigay yung data related to fair value, ang kukunin is the selling price of the goods or yung kapalit, yung selling price of the good or service promised in exchange for the consideration. Okay? Next, the concept of yung uncertainty in the collectability of contract revenue at contract inception and at subsequent period. Anong sinasabi dito? For example, nung nag-agree kayo and when the construction is about to start, how do we measure yung collectability? Magme-measure na ba agad tayo ng contract revenue? It will depend on the circumstances. So, ang titingnan mo dito is, let us read the passage related to contract inception. If the uncertainty in the collectability of contract revenue arises at contract inception, so ibig sabihin, nung nagsimula yung contract, meron ng uncertainty na makolekta yung contract revenue, anong gagawin? You will not recognize any revenue from the contract, pero anong gagawin mo dun sa mga consideration na natanggap po, i-recognize mo muna yun as liability. I-recognize mo lang yun as revenue kapag one, yung entity, wala na siyang remaining obligation to transfer goods or services to the customer, or substantially all of the consideration has been received and is non-refundable, or the contract ay na-terminate na tapos yung consideration na natanggap mo ay non-refundable. So, ganun siya. At contract inception, tapos uncertain na makukolect yung contract revenue, liability mo muna siya. Tapos, i-recognize mo lang as revenue kapag nangyari yung isa dito. The entity shall continue to assess. So, i-assess mo pa rin in the subsequent period if nami-meet niya yung criteria under PFRS 15, yung nabanggit na yan. Subsequent period, papaano naman if at contract inception, okay yung collectibility ng contract revenue, pero at the middle of the construction ay na-identify na there is uncertainty in the collectibility of the contract revenue. Anong gagawin mo? Ang sabi sa standard is the uncollectibility is accounted for as impairment of receivables or the assets. So kapag impairment 'yan, ano ang guidance na titingnan mo? Syempre, PFRS 9, financial instruments, okay? Which is in accordance with part 1, presentation of financial statements, then disclosure under PFRS 7, financial instruments. Disclosures. Yung according to PFRS 15, the disclosure should be separate from the impairment losses on other contracts para ma-identify agad natin that this is an impairment related to the construction contract. So let us look at the illustration. So ABC enters into a contract to construct a hotel for a customer for 50 million. The customer pays a non-refundable deposit 2.5 at contract inception and enters into a long-term financing agreement with ABC for the balance. The financing is a non-recourse basis. Ano ibig sabihin ng non-recourse basis? Kapag hindi nakapagbayad yung customer, ay yung contractor pwede niyang kunin yung hotel. Pero hindi na siya pwedeng mag-collect pa ng further payment. Yun yung ibig sabihin nun. The customer intends to repay the balance primarily from the income it will derive from the hotel. The hotel is located in an area where new hotels face high levels of competition and the customer has little experience in the hotel industry. So, merong tight competition at itong customer na nagpapatayo ay kokonti pa lang ang kanyang experience. Therefore, dito pa lang, based on the tenor of the illustration, makikita mo na there is, at contract inception pa lang, nung magsisimula pa lang, there is uncertainty in the collectability of the revenue. So, ibig sabihin, anong gagawin? You recognize this as a liability. ABC company does not recognize any revenue from the contract. ABC treats 2.5 as a liability. ABC recognizes revenue only when the collectibility of the consideration becomes probable or when either of the following occurs. So, ito yung items na diniscuss natin kanina. Okay, let's look at illustration 2. Paano kung yung cases ng impairment of receivable, how do we account for that? So, si company ay meron siyang contract amounting to 10 million, then binigyan ka ng data, yung cost data mo dito. In 20x2 daw, ABC assessed that it cannot collect 10% of the total contract price. The requirement is to compute for the profit in 20x. X2. So how do we compute for the profit? Kung paano mo siya kino-compute on our previous illustration. So plot mo yung contract price, cost incurred to date, then mako-compute mo yung estimated total contract cost. At this point, the expected profit is 4 million for X1 and X2. Ang percentage of completion is 40 and 75. Alam mo na yan kung paano yan kinocompute. That is cost incurred divided by the total contract cost. Okay, they multiply mo yung expected profit and the percentage of completion. Now, you have your profit or loss to date. Profit to date, 1.6 and 3 million for X1 and X2. Less mo yung recognized in prior years. So, for X1, 1.6. Then, for X2 is 1.4. Ito na yung total profit for the year. Okay, tingnan mo yung item on additional info. Ang sabi, hindi na daw makokolekta ni ABC yung 10% ng contract price. So, ibig sabihin, there is an impairment on the receivable. Imbis na makolekta mo pa sana yung 1 million, which is 10 million times 10%, ay hindi na based on additional information. So therefore, the impairment loss on receivable should be deducted on your profit. So ang profit for the year mo na lang on X2 is 400,000. So that is the answer for this illustration. Okay, next. These are additional illustrations. Lahat po ng susunod na illustrations dito ay summary nung lahat ng na-discuss natin before. So, daanan lang natin pasadahan ng konti because these are only repetitions nung mga previous discussions and concepts. So, yung iba dito ay nadaanan na natin. So, tingnan lang natin kung yung logic nung iba, and I think this you have to read this and to practice these additional illustrations kasi makakatulong to as you, kumbaga, ini-integrate mo yung tutunan mo under construction contract. Okay, so meron tayo ditong related data, cost incurred. Okay, the case 1 is satisfied over time. So, and under the cost-to-cost method. Ang tinatanong is the revenue, cost of construction, and gross profit. So, how do we account for this? Yung template lang din. Contract price, cost incurred, then meron kang expected profit or loss, expected the percentage of completion, and then profit in prior years. So, ito na. Profit for the year. 1.6 and 1.4 and 1 million. Next, di ba ginagamit natin yung profit for the year as you squeeze items related to cost of construction? So, ito na yung gagamit mo, 1.6, 1.4, and 1 million. Di ba ang contract revenue is the contract price multiply to your percentage of completion. So, ito na po yun. Minus mo lang yung contract revenue in prior years kasi yan ay naka to date. So, ito na yung contract revenue for the year alone. Squeeze mo po yung item na yan. Okay? 1.6, 1.4, and 1 million. Ibawas mo yan doon sa contract revenue para makuha mo yung cost of construction. Please be mindful that under the cost-to-cost method, yung cost of construction ay equal lang po yan doon sa cost incurred to date. Okay? Requirement B, ang tinatanong dito is the percentage of progress completed during 20x2 and 20x3. So, paano natin lang kukumputin yun? I-minus lang po. 75% ang completion sa x2. So, minus 40 kasi 40 na-complete ng x1. So, therefore, 35% yung na-complete ng x2 alone, for that year alone. Pag x3 naman, 25% kasi 100 minus 75. Okay? Kung matatandaan mo, meron na tayong na-solve na ganyan before. Okay, let's look at case 2. This is a zero profit method. Okay, tingnan mo yung contract revenue niya dyan, 2.4, 2.1, and 5.5. This is case 2. So, base pa rin ito doon sa given data dito. Okay? Under illustration 1. Diba? Under the zero profit method, the contract revenue is equal to your cost of construction and you will only recognize profit or losses at the end of the construction period or yung completion year kung saan siya na-complete. What happens kapag the performance obligation is satisfied at a point in time? Kanina ito is over time, ito at a point in time. So, okay, let us take a look at this. Okay. No revenue is recognized during the construction period because the performance obligation is satisfied at a point in time. The whole of the transaction price is recognized as revenue only at the end in 20x3 when construction is completed and control over the goods is transferred to the customer. Kaya nga mapapansin mo, the contract revenue is identified in 20x3 and in 20x1 and x2 wala tayong recognition dyan. Costs incurred each year during the construction are deferred and recognized in full only in 20x3 when the related revenue is recognized. So kung saan lang ni-recognize yung revenue, dun mo i-recognize yung cost related to that. So kapag yan ay cases on point in time. Okay? Next, construction in progress and contract asset or liability. I think you have to look at this because this is incorporating yung yung traditional accounting and the contemporary accounting under PFRS 15. So, ang ginagamit na natin ngayon is yung PFRS 15. But there are cases wherein baka hindi si Pali, baka i-compare yan because for the longest time, laging construction in progress ang ginagamit. But because of the transition, binago. So, baka merong mga questions related to a comparison between the two. Okay? So, tingnan lang natin yung percentage of, under the traditional accounting, yung percentage of completion method and zero profit method ng pinapakompute sa yung construction in progress. So, under Project A, ang cost incurred mo is 4 million, ang profit is 2 million. So, ang balance ng iyong construction in progress is 6 million. For construction in progress, Project B, kung titingnan mo, wala na siyang estimated cost to complete and the progress billings is equal to the contract price. Therefore, this is an indication that Project B is already complete. So, kung complete yan, dapat wala ka ng construction in progress account. Kaya zero yan. Remember, kapag na-complete ang construction, yung construction in progress account, dapat wala na yan sa yung financial statement, dapat ay nalipat mo na sa yung asset account. For example, paano maglipat? O debit buildings and then credit construction in progress buildings. Kumbaga, i-eliminate mo yung CIP account. What happens kapag zero profit method? Diba? Under zero profit method, wala kang recognition ng profit dyan on the wala ka munang recognition on profit until na-complete yung project. So, ibig sabihin, for CIP ng Project A, ang iyong construction in progress ay 4 million. However, CIP ni B, dahil yan ay complete na, zero pa rin ang iyong zero profit method. Okay? Therefore, we can say that once the construction is completed, whether it is under the percentage of completion or under the zero profit method, the construction in progress remains at an amount zero. Okay. Much of some items, I think you have to identify this based on our discussion. So, let's proceed with the progress billings under illustration 3. Ang tinatanong sa iyo dito is the total progress billings made and the total construction revenue. So, tingnan natin how do we account for the progress billings. Yung progress billings po, ito yung ito yung natanggap. Di ba ikaw ay nag-bill, yung natanggap mo on your billings. Kaya siya progress billings because it increases over time. So, according to the data, 20% daw ang down payment upon signing of the contract. Tapos yung balance is billed based on percentage of completion minus an application of the down payment. Bakit may minus? Kasi, kung ibabase mo sa percentage of completion yan, yung 20% noon ay nabayaran naman na. So, kailangan ibawas mo yung 20% of that balance and then i-multiply mo lang doon sa percentage of completion. Let's look at the solution for this. The down payment is for Project A is 1 million times 20%. That is 200,000. Then, yung subsequent billing, ito yung tinutukoy dito. yung the balance. Yung 80% noon will be based on your percentage of completion. So 1 million times 80% times 25%. 25% is your percentage of completion for for A. So 200,000 po 'yon. Okay? Minus yung portion sa down payment ito. So 200,000 times 25% kasi nga andun na siya, kasama na siya doon. So 200,000 minus 50,000 is 150. So therefore 200 plus 150 is 350. This is your progress billing for B. For A, for B naman, 400,000 ang down payment, billing is 2M times 80% times 75% is 1.2 minus yung portion ng 400,000 times 75%. Okay? Kasi ito na po yun. Kasama na doon yung portion na ito. 1.2 minus 300 is 900. So, 4 plus 9 is 1.3 million. So, magkano ang yung total progress billings? Ito yung natanggap mo na based on your billings. So, 350 plus 1.3 is 1,650,000. That is the answer for requirement A. For requirement B, ang tinatanong sa'yo is the construction revenue. How do we compute for construction revenue? Di ba contract price multiplied by the percentage of completion. So, easy. Contract price, 1 million times 25%, 250. 2 million times 75%, 1.5. That is your 1.75 million is the answer. Construction revenue total. Okay, let's look at illustration 4, yung collections. So, baka maka-encounter ka ng items such as related dun sa billings kasi ito. Ang requirement dito is to compute for the amount of collections from the project during 20x1. Okay, so meron tayong contract, meron daw 15% mobilization fee is due at contract inception to be deducted from the final billing. Ano bang ibig sabihin nitong mobilization fee? Actually, itong mobilization fee, parang this is also, kumbaga, para mas mabilis na, kaya siya mobilization, para mas mapabilis na masimulan yung contract, ay humihingi sila ng certain amount para doon sa initial purchase or procurement ng mga materials at deployment ng labor. So parang ganun ang concept ng mobilization fee. Kaya naniningil sila dyan. Ito daw ay dideduct from the final billing. So, yung mga susunod na billing daw, subsequent progress billings are due within 2 weeks upon customer acceptance net of 10% customer retention. So, halimbawa, nag-bill ka ngayon, within 2 weeks ay yun yung due niya. So, dapat within 2 weeks, mabayaran ka from the date of customer acceptance net of 10% retention. So, tingnan natin how do we compute the amount of collections. So, ang collections dyan, automatic, itong 15% mobilization fee. Magkano ba ang contract price? 1 million. Tapos, ito yung subsequent billings. Ang sabi, 20% on November 1. The customer accepted the billing on November 4. So, November 4, magbibilang ka ng 2 weeks from November 4, papasok ba yun sa December 20x1? I think yes. Okay, dito naman, 10% on December, the customer disputed the billing. So, hindi niya inaccept yung billing. So, meron ka ba diyang i-accept? I-recognize na collection? Wala. Kasi dinispute yung billing. Ibig sabihin, hindi niya tinanggap. Next, 7% on December 26, the customer accepted the revised billing on December 30. Inaccept niya palang December 30, 2 weeks magra-run from the date of acceptance. So, ito hindi na natin maisasama sa collections for 20x1. So, alin lang isasama? Itong 20%. Okay, let's take a look at the solution. Mobilization fee, 1 million times 15% is 150,000. Next, yung 20% collections on the 20% collection from the 20% progress billing, 1 million times 20% times 90%. Bakit 90? Kasi ang sabi net of 10% retention. Ito is yung retention na tinutukoy dito, yung diniscuss natin before na security para accomplish kapag na-accomplish yung construction at 100%, tsaka pa lang mabibigay yung retention fee. Okay? So, 180 po yun. 150 plus 180 is 330. This is the answer. 330,000 is the total collection. Okay, let's proceed on some of the items, I think we have to look at dito, yung illustration 6, yung reconstruction of information. So, pwede kasing ganito ang ibigay sa'yo. Although, kapag nakabisa mo na itong template, it is easy for you to compute. Okay? In the review and the CPA board exam, you don't need to plot an entire table for you to squeeze items. Dapat matandaan mo lang, for our discussion, it is easier for us to understand if we tabulate things. But ikaw ang gagawa ng shortcut on how you identify the items. 'Di ba? Kapag ang hinahanap is the contract price, how do you squeeze items based on formulas? Okay? So, ang binigay dito is itong percentage of completion, contract cost, and profit for the year. Ang tinatanong is the revenue, cost of construction, and the estimated cost to complete. So, i-plot muna natin lahat ng items. Estimated total contract cost, percentage of completion, profit for the year. So, kung titingnan mo, saan ka dapat magsimula? E dito, 25,000 plus 125 is 150,000. So, 150 divided by 75%. So, ito yun, 200,000. So, ito po yun. So, 200,000 plus 1.8 is 2 million. So, ito na yung total contract price mo. And then, you have to squeeze some items. So, based on the illustration, the cost of construction, the contract revenue is based on 2 million times, ano ba tinatanong dito? 20x2. 2 million times 75% is 1.5 minus 500. The answer for contract revenue for the year is 1 million. Kung ang profit for the year mo as computed above is 25,000, 25,000 minus 1 million, your cost of construction is 975 in 20x2. Okay, next, B, estimated cost to complete. So, gamitin mo itong item na to on identifying. Kasi, di ba, ang estimated cost to complete, ang tinatanong, ang given sa'yo, estimated total contract cost. The estimated total contract cost, yan ay cost incurred to date plus estimated cost to complete. So, kailangan, dahil 1.8 ang data mo on 20x2, kuhanin mo yung cost incurred to date as of 20x2. Paano ba yung computein yun? E di yung cost of construction mo ng 20x1, 375 plus 975 in 20x2, that is your cost incurred to date, 1.35 million. 1.35 minus 1.8 is 450. So that is your estimated cost to complete on 20x2 as an squeeze item. Okay? So, ganun lang siya. You have to identify kung paano mo i-squeeze yung items related to that. Illustration 7 is also a reconstruction of information problem. I think this is for your analysis. So, andito naman din yung solution niya. Okay. Some of the items is for your reading because we already have identified such similar problems. So, meron lang konting tweak dyan. So, I think I have to end the discussion on accounting for construction contracts. Please start with part 1 up to this part 5 because the accounting for construction contracts is very complex and very lengthy in the discussion. So, more or less, in the CPA board exam and during the reviews, mahirap yung construction contracts because ang dami mong ini-incorporate na items at hindi siya masyadong relatable because itong construction is separate industry. So, in actual practice, kung hindi after the board and after passing the CPA exam, if ikaw ay hindi naman magtatrabaho in a construction firm, you will not be using this. But since this is required for an entry-level CPA to understand concepts such as this, to understand concepts on various industries, itong construction industry as one, ay dapat maintindihan natin yung basic logics related to the methods. Cost to cost, input method, output method, among others. So thank you for being with me until part 5 of the construction contracts discussion video. Thank you.